we're going to talk about speed to lead and basically how our 7-figure practices book the most patients possible out of every situation. The new patient journey. When the patients are attracted through our ads, through our marketing campaigns, we want the speed between the time that they submit their information to the time that we're engaging with them at the front desk of the practice to be as short as possible. Ideally, this will be within 5 to 15 minutes of workday. And worst case, it would be, as soon as you open within half an hour on a Monday morning. And that speed really does dictate the outcomes of what will happen. So the example that I always use would be if you moved from your current city to a new city and you were looking for a realtor. What you're likely to do is, if you don't have anyone to recommend a realtor, you're probably going to Google. You're going to type in, realtor for the town or city that you live in, and you're probably going to call the very first person or send them a message. If you don't get them on the phone or you don't get a message right away, what are you likely to do? You're very likely to move on to the next person. And in each of your situations for your practices, you have competition. What we want to ensure is that we're not giving the patient any opportunity to consider reaching out to anyone else for their problem. And the faster that you can get to that patient, the faster you can create that initial relationship with them and engage with them, the more successful you're going to be, not only getting them to show up at the practice, but getting them to convert into a win for your practice. So here are some of the needs that each of your leads are going to have as they come in. They have a desire to be engaged with. They have a desire to be educated. They definitely want to feel connected. And we kind of reviewed this in the therapeutic relationship video. They also want you to recognize the purpose of what they're looking for. But they also, we want them to value the service that you're providing. And the patients want to be seen promptly. They don't necessarily want to wait, especially depending on the issue that they have. So the sooner that we can get them on a conversation, and the sooner that we can book them in for a consultation, for an assessment, the more successful we're going to be overall. So let's meet Mary. Well, we have generally 3 types of leads. I call them hot, mild, and cold. But Mary is sweet but serious. She will basically call you twice a week for an entire month asking about cancellations. You're going to hear something in the phrase of the conversation of, well, I Googled this, or I've already done my research, at least once in every conversation. And often she's going to have a direct extension for somebody, maybe the physician, maybe the practice manager. She's very highly motivated. And in this instance, what it's important to understand is Mary's done a lot of her own research already. She's made her decision that you are the practice that she wants to come with. And this is honestly, for all of us, our favorite patient. It's the patient that we have to do the least amount of work on because she has a legit reason for treatment. And when you call her with a reminder, she's going to text you right away and be like, can I get in on the cancellation list? So very high motivation. She's also going to be symptomatic, and most often she is our referral. And I know that for most of the practices, this is the patient that we're expecting to see from a marketing campaign. And we can interact with Mary in much different ways and still have a consistent outcome. But it's important to understand that not everybody is going to be like Mary that comes in through the marketing campaign, and why we're going to adjust our tactics a little bit to be different. So Harry's our middle guy. Harry's kind of what we call lukewarm. So he's an information guy, right? He's going to self-report his problem well. He's got a really good history or story. He came from a word of mouth referral. Somebody, that he knew, a coworker, a family, a friend who speaks really highly about your practice. And again, this is fantastic. This is why we focus on reviews. That's why we focus on testimonials. That's why we look at the lifetime value of every patient that comes into the clinic. He is, though, happy to book his appointment 4 to 6 weeks out from today because maybe he's still undecided. And again, this is where going to engagement, using the script, making sure that he understands that you're able to help him. It's going to be able to move him up faster into the queue, and you're going to have a lot higher chance of getting him to show for his appointment. You are going to hear the phrases, I'm not in a rush, I want to know all the facts, and that again leads to the education that he's seeking. And he may, be a likely referral in 6 months. Often what will happen is, he's still in the information gathering stage. He's yet heard good things about you. And, in a typical situation, he would be the individual that would come in on the fax machine or electronically through a referral in about 6 months. Carrie is the person that we have to work the hardest on. And Carrie is important that we will spend a lot of time in our Q&A sessions in our practice profit workshop focusing on. So Carrie's the individual who's never heard of you before. She's pure cold, like almost frozen, right? She, didn't even know that your practice existed for the problem that she has. But she did click on the ad. She filled out her information and she has interest in what you're providing. But sometimes what she's gonna do is she thinks your image is cute or it's nice, or the teen sounded nice. Again, she's not really the Mary yet. She's not, she's moving in that direction, but she's not there yet. She's gonna be loyal to a brand once that you impress her. And this is where our first impression matters the most. If we do not call Carrie within 48 hours 3 times, Carrie is going to forget who we are. She's going to give the impression that we're not going to help her, that we're not responsive, that we don't want to help. And in reality, we can't blame her for that because we didn't reach out to her right away. We didn't go to initiate a conversation. We said to her basically, like, you can wait 48 hours because we're busy. And we need to understand how that patient perceives that communication or lack of communication, the way we want to communicate with her right away. And in some instances, you're going to call Carrie those 3 times, but it might be the text message that pulls her in. It might be a video that pulls her in, right? Again, she's going to want to hear lots of warmth, gratitude. We want you using the script with a patient like Carrie. We want you using the script with every patient. And, she's really early in her recognition of her problem. So those questions in the script of, what's the number one problem that you're experiencing right now? How can we help you? Those are really, really important things in the script. But pull Carrie closer and closer and closer to that kind of Harry and Mary role that we're looking for. So again, cold leads, they're yet to realize that your service provides an immediate solution. So work on that, focus on that, help these patients understand. They're going to take the longest time from a prospect to a purchase, and that's okay. Some of these patients are going to take 4 weeks or 4 months, but continuously work on it. This is where in our sales process, we want to make sure that we get a commitment at every point in time with them. We don't want to, on a cold lead, say to them, well, let us know when you decide that you want to move forward. They're not going to give you that type of commitment if that's the type of approach that you have. You need to tell these patients, hey, based on everything you've shared with me today, this is why this procedure or treatment is perfect for you. Give them the confidence. They initially only see themselves as a prospect, which is why they're behaving this way. Convert them to a patient. Build that relationship. Make them see the value of coming to see you. And by creating that relationship, it's essential for her or him before they take that next step. They're not going to be able to book an appointment. They're not going to be willing to book an appointment until they understand a little bit more or they feel that that relationship is moving in the right direction. A warm lead, great. They can identify their problem. This is fantastic. They have heard of you, which is awesome. We've got a little bit of traction already inside the practice in terms of branding and recognition. They are missing something key in their decision process. So we want to spend the time on figuring out, well, what is that? They're evaluating their solutions, which we would expect them to do. But again, let's bring them in, give them the confidence that, hey, we're going to work with you on this to find that solution. Focus on the nurturing. Yes, they're going to be referred by a family doctor or likely our referral from a family doctor. Maybe that family doctor didn't spend 30 minutes talking about your practice. Maybe only spent 5. Take that into consideration. Use that to your advantage. Build that relationship with them. Ultimately, you're going to need to call them, email them. They may even be messaging on Facebook. And finally, those hot leads, we still want to treat them exactly the same as all of our other prospects or patients, but they have identified that they have a need. They do know that your business or service, essentially what you offer, they're going to be solution focused. We don't need to get into the issue on the phone with them of like what they should do or what they shouldn't do. Leave that for the consultation process. But what you can do to them is say, hey, Mary, I hear that that's really, really important. A new life doctor so-and-so knows that when you come in, you can have that discussion with him or her. They're going to be ready to take action. Make sure that you try to get these patients in as soon as possible. Sometimes it's going to be making an accommodation into the schedule to get them in. They're going to have a specific time frame in mind that they're going to want to be seen. Ask them that question. When would you like to be seen? I'll do my best to get you in. And it's really, really important so that you all know we have to meet their expectations or they're not going to show for their appointment.